Pops, what you got?
So I found the most disturbing of the many clips that I find with Elina Haba, and that is her on a podcast with Andrew Tate. And for those that don't know, Andrew Tate is a self-proclaimed misogynist. He's under indictment in 2 jurisdictions for sex trafficking, human trafficking, money laundering. I mean, he is the worst of the worst. If you listen to his videos, it is no wonder that young men in America are angry and rage-filled because he is the grossest of the gross. And Elina Haba, who comes out to her MAGA fight song, All I Do Is Win, when all she does in court is lose, who's been appointed to the Trump administration, she is on a podcast just loving all over Andrew Tate, and it's disgusting.
Hi.
Hello, Elina.
Hi.
Hello.
Nice to meet you. I'm a big fan.
Well, nice to meet you. I'm a fan. You're the one saving Trump. You're doing more important work than me.
America, not just Trump. And I agree with everything you just said. And I think that your anger is the same that President Trump has for our country. And the time is now for us to stop being wimps. I think that's exactly the right sentiment. And I also have to say that I sympathize with you because I think you go through a lot of the same show me the person, I'll find the crime that President Trump has gone through.
Andrew Tate is a horrific person. And I think it is absolutely on brand that the most anti-woman administration in this modern era has piggybacked on to him. You have sexual offenders that have been appointed to the cabinet. Pete Hegseth is going to be under a lot of hopeful, I hope, massive interrogation by Democratic senators during his confirmation hearings because it is alleged that Pete Hegseth committed sexual assault and paid off the victim and had her sign an NDA. And so that to me is horrific, especially considering this guy is a major Christian nationalist. And then you've got Andrew Tate that comes in, and you have the marriage of all of these really bizarre things. Christian nationalism, which Pete Hegseth is like, right there. And then Andrew Tate, who's the biggest misogynist, rapist, and he has been charged as such. He beats women. He brags about beating women. He chokes women. A lot of these women are underage. A lot of the Christian nationalists are like, wait, we care about the kids. Don't groom the kids. Well, Andrew Tate's a groomer. And then you had Matt Gaetz, screwing underage girls, which is statutory rape. And so I am not surprised by this. We're going to continue to see more and more of this. You have the worst human beings, completely emotionally broken, attaching themselves to the MAGA movement because this is a very emotionally dysfunctional, intellectually impotent movement. And the right-wing religious people are able to jump on that too because Trumpism has provided them a permission structure to be the hypocrites that they are. It's put it all out there where they can be like, oh, yeah, we love Jesus, but oh, yeah, my husband might slap and tickle there. But then, he found Jesus again.
Right.
It's like, well, where was he the whole time when he was screwing the church secretary? All that happened in church. He lived around you, but he's recommitted his life to Jesus again. I'm like, these people are so insane.
Well, the through line in the misogynistic nature of MAGA, Andrew Tate, and Christianity is that everyone in that category diminishes women. It's sexism, it's misogyny. That's why I think all these Christian nationalists are so able to go fall in line is because they themselves are patriarchal misogynists. And these women like Elina Haba, example A, just completely internalized misogyny. I mean, it is fucking gross. She is gross. Andrew Tate's gross. The whole thing is gross.
Is it internalized misogyny with her or is it opportunism?
I would think it would have to be on some level internalized misogyny because no self-respecting woman would go on that podcast and praise him the way she did.
I mean, you think that, but here's a woman who went to law school. I'm sure there probably is some internalized misogyny, but she seems so blindly ambitious and like walking out at the Nazi rally at Madison Square Garden with All I Do Is Win and dancing. And it's like this, it's like all of these narcissists collide, and just as long as they're at the top, as long as they're getting the attention, then whatever falls below that, there's zero conviction.
Right.
That's what grosses me out the most about these people, is they have no conviction, even on a local level. Like people that I know that are like, oh yeah, I have gay friends, or oh God, no, I want my daughter to have privacy at an OBGYN appointment. Then they go and vote for Trump. And I'm like, where's your conviction? Why do you have zero conviction? How are you able to be so morally duplicitous? MAGA, Trumpism is just, this is where you can go and be a hypocrite, and it all makes sense under their umbrella. And it's like the most dysfunctional, disgusting human beings all hang out together at MAGA rallies, on MAGA sites, in the comments section. To me, this is the biggest cancer in the world right now, is this MAGA movement.
No, I completely agree. And one thing that I did also find over the weekend, which, Rudy Giuliani. So just a real brief background on what's going on with him. Has a defamation verdict for $148 million against the Georgia election workers that he defamed. He refused to participate in discovery. He refused to participate in turning over his assets after he was ordered to do that. So he has been found in contempt of court 2 times. Now they're to the point where we're going to take control of your assets. We're going to liquidate them. So Trump over the weekend posts, "Save Rudy." And I just want to point out the hypocrisy in that, because Donald Trump never paid Rudy for all the legal fees that he had in the course of the 2020 election. He owes him, on his bankruptcy filing, over $2 million in legal fees that he refused to pay, which is totally on brand. So it disgusts me that he doesn't pay his bills. That's one. It disgusts me that the president-elect of the United States is so behind and for this guy that has, 4 seasons total landscaping, who's clearly just a despicable hair ink filing down your face, lying sack of shit. And Trump is running around saying, "Save Rudy," when he himself could save Rudy. He could do it, but he puts the burden on everyone. It just pissed me off. That whole thing grosses me out. I just had to bring it up.
This is just Trump throwing out shiny objects. He probably knows about the Steve Bannon, Elon Musk rivalry that's budding. And so he can throw out red meat to the base, and they take orders from him, like the obsequious little lapdogs that they are. Mm-hmm. And then they go on all of their, sites and do all of the trolling and all of the stuff. And Rudy Giuliani is a washed up alcoholic.
Yes.
You can try to dress it up however you want to. This man is an untreated, low functioning alcoholic. He needs to go to rehab. The best way to save Rudy Giuliani would be to do an intervention and get him to rehab. He is a horrible alcoholic. During the campaign, I think he was falling down at the Republican National Convention. He was so hammered, and nobody ever wants to live in reality. Donald Trump needs to be in a straitjacket and a padded cell. That would be the way to help him. But we're going to sit back and have to watch these completely disgusting, morally duplicitous people with zero conviction other than being hypocrites, saying one thing and doing another. And their numbers have grown. There are millions of them, and we're just going to have to sit back, eat our popcorn, and hope that we're not too fucked.
Exactly. One thing a new word that I've been hearing a lot lately, and I think we're going to all become more familiar with, is kleptocracy, which means that the government is taking money, billionaires are taking money through the government getting rich, and the people, the constituents of the government and the mainstream Americans are losing money. And so I found this clip so fascinating by Scott Galloway, who is an expert on all of these things. I really think it's important.
Nothing to do with their operating margins, their innovation, their sales. It's based on a general assumption that America has become a full kleptocracy like Russia, that the largest, deepest pocketed customer in the history of our modern economy, the U.S. government, will effectively is now pay to play and will shuffle contracts, monies, and impose regulatory punishment on the competitors to the companies who do not invest in the Republican Party or in his inaugural campaign, as evidenced by the fact that very few of these tech executives invested in the inaugural campaign fund for Biden, and they are all doing it for Trump. We have gone full kleptocrat. And if you don't think this hurts everyone, this raises prices, and for the little guy or the companies that don't want to engage in this type of pay for play, it hurts them. This will increase prices and weaken our democracy. This is absolutely no different than how Putin became the wealthiest man in the world.
I mean, you see Mark Zuckerberg, who has zero conviction.
Zero.
He 4 years ago banned Trump from his sites. And then Elon Musk buys Twitter, changes the name to X, then says, okay, I'm going to put verified accounts up for sale. Zuckerberg is like, oh, we're going to allow for verified accounts to pay a fee for that as well. And then Elon Musk does away with fact checking, and then he saddles up next to Trump. He does away with DEI. Zuckerberg follows suit with all of these things. Zuckerberg went on Joe Rogan and sat there and said that corporate America had been neutered and that the world needed masculine energy. And I just think, okay, this is what MAGA does to people. You know that there is masculine energy. You know that it can be toxic. You know that it can be bad. And then you have these mitigating factors like DEI programs, fact check, women in positions of power, a board of directors that's mixed in diversity of skin color, diversity of gender. And then it tempers your worst instincts as a human being. MAGA and Trumpism triggers all of your worst instincts as a human being and then reinforces them. And then you're surrounded by a lot of other people that feel the same way, and then you feel emboldened. And that's what we're seeing. And the fact, what he's saying, this makes a lot of sense to me, that all of them are donating money because they fear the regulatory retribution of the incoming Trump administration. That's exactly what they're doing. They're like, oh shit. I mean, this guy will come after us and he will do X, Y, Z. That's not free market.
No.
That is a company that is bending the knee completely to this convicted felon, a convicted felon that tried to overthrow the government and kill his own vice president.
Right. What is so gross about it is I don't even feel like it's being disguised. I mean, Trump is not disguising his transactional nature. All of these CEOs, oligarchs in waiting, they're not disguising it. They're doing exactly what Trump wants them to do. Look at Bezos with the Washington Post. The $40 million to the Melania Trump documentary. I mean, these guys are not even trying to disguise it. They're like, fuck you, we're paying to play, we want in, we don't give a shit about the little guy. And it's just, here is who we have as president. This is the next 4 years.
This is not going to end well. This is a very short-sighted decision-making process. All of these tech bros are being very short-sighted. Donald Trump on January 20th will be a lame duck immediately. And within 2 years, if the Democrats are able to flip the House and Senate, they're going to be in a lot of hot water. And then 4 years from now, once Trump is termed out, these guys are making this very short-sighted, now-only decision and not playing the long game with their companies. And I predict this is not going to end well for them in the long game. In the short game, yes. In the long game, people, the rich fleecing the poor, history is never that kind to.
I hope you're right.
All right, we'll see you guys later.
It's so